It was made public. I think she had over close to 1,000 or so, high heel shoes.
But her legs was a very prominent feature, and the hair. It gave her that unique kind of look. Not in the whole affair. And, she was European. Or?
Yeah, she was.
I thought she was American, but she was actually European. But lived in America.
All right, so it's now time for us to bring to you our conversation for today, and it has to do with our build-up to Father's Day. Father's Day is on Sunday, and early on this morning, I was saying that on Sunday, you ought to go to your daddy and say to your daddy, "Daddy, happy Father's Day. Daddy, I love you, and Daddy, I thank you." And it generated some conversations or some heated debates in our studios because it's not Ghanaian. I mean, how do you go to your daddy and say, "Daddy, I love you"? No. Relax. And so the challenge was like, let's activate the phone lines and find out from our listeners whether they agree. And interestingly, almost everybody who called was like, yeah. For us in Ghana, it's not part of our stuff. You cannot go to your daddy and say, "Daddy, I love you." You cannot even hug your daddy. And I'm like, what? Listen, this Sunday, go to your daddy. Don't just say, "Daddy, I love you," but hug your daddy and let him know that you indeed care about him. But for generations, many have denied fatherhood. Many have defined fatherhood by one thing: providing, putting food on the table, paying school fees, and keeping a roof over the family's head. But is that all a father is called to be? The father God designed is more than a provider. Now, he's a leader, a teacher, a protector, a mentor, and a counseling person, as well as a source of love, wisdom, and direction. Now, his presence shapes character, builds confidence, and helps raise responsible children who become responsible citizens. So today on Love in the Morning, we'll look beyond the physique and the daily provision to examine the true purpose of fatherhood in a time when many homes are crying out for guidance, discipline, affection, and positive male role models. Question I asked myself this morning, I want to ask you the same question, is, are we raising the kind of fathers God intended? Are we raising the kind of fathers God intended? How can fathers build lasting legacies that outlive them, and what must society do to help men become the fathers their families need? How can we have fathers who do not only meet needs but shapes destinies, build values, nurture dreams, and leave a legacy for generations to come? It's all about Father's Day. And to all the fathers out there, the responsible fathers out there, we'll say Happy Father's Day to all of you in advance. Yeah. Joining me for this conversation are two fine gentlemen like we had yesterday. When it was Mother's Day edition, we had a lot of mothers pass through. This morning, I've got Mr. Martin Anani. He's CEO of Rival Foods. And also with me is Louis Edu Amoa. He is a biomedical scientist and project manager with the Global Health and Infectious Disease Research Group, that is a GHID at KCCR. He's a former youth president for LWC. He is a husband, and he's a father of two as well. So to you, Louise, and of course to Martin, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Dave.
When I was talking about, Father's Day and that children should go to their fathers and hug them and tell them they love them, you were like, no, it's not a thing. I mean, where are you coming from? Why are you saying no to it?
I'm not saying no, but I think there are other ways of showing love, appreciation, or thanking your parents. If you can say,
in this instance, the father, we're talking about father.
The father, yes. If you can say, I love you, you can say you love you to your dad. I think that's fine.
You think it's fine?
I think it's good if you can.
Is your dad alive?
Yes, he is.
Have you told him you love him before?
I don't think so, sincerely.
Why haven't you?
I have other ways of saying
No. Why can't you go to your daddy directly and say, "Daddy, I love you"?
I can. I can.
But
I have not done it before.
Why haven't you?
I don't know. I don't think any of us
has
have
it crossed your mind?
Oh no, because I have other ways of doing it for him to know.
No, actions are there, I know, but the saying it, the verbal words.
So maybe I'll try this Father's Day.
You should. Have you ever hugged your dad before?
Yes.
You have hugged him?
Oh yes, several times. My graduations, several times. And now I'm not home, so anytime I get to the house,
you hug him.
We shake and hug. Yes.
You shake hands or you hug?
Oh, we both. Any of them.
Must I go and tell your daddy you love him? And I'm happy that you say your father is listening.
Yeah.
Louis.
Yeah.
Have you told your dad you love him before?
Yes, I think, but usually it sounds very full in your mouth.
It sounds full.
Full in your mouth.
How full is it?
How
full is it in your mouth?
It's as if it's a feminine thing. That's because of the way we've been socialized to think that men should just be full of steel, and so saying some of these things are quite feminine, but it should be.
Do you think that now the phenomenon should change?
Absolutely.
You think it should?
Absolutely.
So this Father's Day, is your dad alive? Would you tell him you love him?
Very much.
Leo was saying that we should put it to test. If you don't preempt it, don't prearrange it. Let somebody take a video of it and send it to us. We'd like to see what happened. So you're hugging your daddy and say, "Daddy, I love you." Let somebody take a video of it. Let us see your father's response. Leo, is that what you want to see?
Yeah, I want to see people's response. Or you can even call him on speakerphone and say, "Daddy, I love you," recording.
Can we do it right now? Your father is listening, so I'm sure that he will change his mind and do the needful. Martin, he will do the needful because he's listening. Yes. But if he was not listening, I would have tried it right now. Yes. Louis, is your father listening?
He's not listening this morning.
Where is he?
Call him right now and say, "Daddy, I love you."
Call him on WhatsApp. Normal call. Put on speaker.
Call. Yeah.
Put on speaker. And say, "Daddy, I just want to say I love you."
Is your dad alive?
No, his dad is passed.
But what would have been the feeling like if you had called him?
Yeah, he's never said it before to his dad.
I'm calling him.
So
yesterday I had an interesting chat with him.
So just do this for me.
All right.
Yeah. Say, "Daddy, I just called it to say I love you." I said that about for Papa because I love you too. I don't hear anything. I'm not hearing anything. He's on speaker.
Okay, let me put on speaker.
Who is your dad about?
And increase the volume. Let me see something.
All right.
Mama, that penny, yeah.
Oh, but unse ina.
Papa craft crown fampo. On my father dada. My father dada.
Sorry.
He'll call back. Yesterday I called him in the morning to ask whether he watched the Black Stars match because I don't want to call him at the night when we have. And then he called back when he couldn't pick it.
After how many years?
Coming again?
After how many years did he call back?
Oh no, just in the
as soon as he finds out.
So I want to know the time difference. You called him what time and what time did he respond?
I called him in the morning, just when I got to the office.
And he replied
the call
in
the afternoon, but he said he had not seen it.
But they also
let's do this.
But they also
hold on.
like my dad.
Hold on. Is your dad a pensioner?
Yes. He's a pensioner.
So he's home right now.
Yes.
Call your mother. Are they both home right now? You see, your mother will pick. You see, your mother will pick. Hold on for me. Martin, hold on.
Okay, let me call my mom.
Oh, Dave, what a morning.
What a morning.
This is a social experiment.
It's so because
so when mommy picks, let's say, "Mommy, can I speak to daddy?"
Yes.
When daddy comes to daddy, I just want to say I love you.
To copy a tone, press any two keys.
We need to change the phenomenon. We need to change the narrative. Maybe she's also
all right.
Don't worry.
But the time lapse between the father's call, it's also dependent on the depth of your conversations. For example, sometimes my father will be calling where I am because of how long we can talk. I wouldn't want to pick, or you would make sure you make enough time.
So for me, I'll pick and say, "Daddy, can I call you back?"
Oh, that's fine. But
instead of ignoring the call,
I don't ignore.
You don't know why he's calling you. You were saying that you will not pick, but call him back.
Let me correct. So I can pick and say, "Let me call you back," or send a text. But usually, so the point I'm trying to say with the time lapse in Louis's cases, sometimes you get used to a certain length of conversation, so that your father knows when you call. It's like 45 minutes, 1 hour.
What kind of a father do you think you are?
I'm a Christian, so.
You're a Christian dad.
Yes, I'm a Christian dad. That's the ultimate we hope to be. You know, God is our father, so we strive to be like him on earth.
So, to a large extent, it looks as if we have, reduced fatherhood to the size of a man's wallet instead of, the depth of impact he plays. Do you see that as well as a father?
Yes.
Why do you think it is so? Why is it that it's what you have in your pocket, it's what you have in your bank, it's what you have in your wallet, instead of seeing beyond that?
Because society defines everything on currency. How much you have, makes you who you are. So it's eating into every fiber of our thinking and society, and has become very dominant in the house. So as a man, your pockets must be heavy, very heavy.
So if you're a man and your pocket is not heavy, you cannot be a father?
You can. There is more to being a father than just the money.
Thank you.
Yes, but based on the question you asked, unfortunately, that's what society. But it's like a secondary school. Even if you are doing science, there is biology, there is physics, there is chemistry, there is math. So if you only focus on biology and you neglect the rest, an A in biology cannot get you probably the course you would want to do. So we have to look at it from the holistic
So,
point.
Louise, our main conversation this morning is to try and understand the fatherhood that God designed for us. So, looking at that topic, who would you say is the father God designed, and how different is he from the father society celebrates today? He was talking about society and society's mindset about who a father is. You should have enough money and all that. But he also likens it to the fact that you're in a science, you're a science student, and there are different categories of science subjects, and you should be able to have control of all of them. So, by looking at the father God designed, what comes to mind?
If I look at what God's blueprint was to be for fathers, it's not just bringing up the child and bring the child into the world and providing, but there should be that nurturing, there should be that value formation, there should be protection for the child, there should be education and a holistic training of the human being so that he becomes fit and proper for society.
So broadening it, expanding, when you talk about nurturing, what is the father's role in nurturing a child? When you talk about protection, what kind of protection is a father supposed to give to a child? Just broadening it for us.
So for nurturing, it's not just going to work and providing money for the home, but do I see that I've created an environment where the child feels safe? I've provided an environment where there is love and correction in making sure that the child, if the child does something wrong, there's that love and correction to bring the child. My boy, for instance, one of my boys, for instance, is one of Martin's. Martin is one of his coaches, and he went to school. Very good boy. He's done something wrong, and then they told us. When we came home, we discussed it at home, made him know that as such a good boy as he is, this is not right for him to do. Do you know what we did? We wrote a letter back to the school apologizing for what he had done, and my wife and myself also signed off on that letter and went to the school also to explain to them that this is not peculiar to this child for him to do that, and so we are sorry, but this is the corrective action that we've done. He then understands that it is not just a dad providing for me, but that correction environment, that educational environment, creating a home where they can play, they feel loved, and all that come together to make it an
would you say that you raise your children in such a way that they can come to you first, confide in you, ask you any personal question, rather than going to, let's say, their mother or to some friend or peer outside? Would you say you've built that kind of relationship?
I think I'm doing very well on that. I take this from a lesson that our former pastor at Living Waters taught us, Reverend Tony. He told us that if you look at a woman who is giving birth to a child, you, the man, you are lagging behind 9 months because they've bonded with the woman in the womb. They come out, they breastfeed. And so if anything happens and you tell the child, go to your mother, they would begin to develop that affection that, okay, everything that I need, my dad says I should go to my mom. So I've developed this with the boys so much that, I mean, yesterday when I went home, they were the first people to come and meet me. Anytime I get home, I shout from outside, hello, papi. Then he would also respond. That bond of affection. He comes out, and then the first thing he told me was, Happy Father's Day. The mom had taught him. And then so we've built that relationship, and they should.
Do you have that same bonding? We'll be talking about bonding later again, but would you say that is same with you and your dad? Do you go to your dad with your, not as an adult now, but growing up in your teens, let's say from 17 to let's say 25 or thereabout, would you say that your father was the first port of call when you needed any advice, or you had people outside your dad or outside your dad who engaged or spoke to you or advised you?
I wouldn't say that also. My dad was a very good dad, but we grew up thinking that they are the disciplinarians and all that, and so we naturally did not gravitate towards them if we needed any kind of advice. And that is where it even becomes scary. I had a male voice, a friend who was a senior colleague at church and in school, who was pouring into me, but that was a very good guy. And so it also raises the question of who pours into your child. And so I think we should be able to develop the relationship to expect.
What made you be able to gravitate towards that person at church and not your dad?
I think tabletop conversations were very important. So there's a guy, I was at King's International and he was at Negration School. We close, and on my way home, he would meet me. And tabletop conversations, those are the things that easily, of course, my dad was doing that. As I grew, you then gravitate towards your dad more when you're becoming a man and the rest. You understand that, okay, this is, but at that very early age, sometimes you feel they are too much of this.
Did you miss it in any way?
Did I?
Did you miss that in your father? You were gravitating and engaging more with somebody who wasn't your dad. Would you say that you wished at a certain point in time that you had that relationship with your dad?
Oh, maybe I should state it better. I had that relationship with my dad also, but it's something that did not come often.
Okay.
Because of peers.
It wasn't easy for you, because if it was that easy,
yes.
if that environment was there, you could easily say to yourself, listen, even when I've engaged with my peers, I can still go to daddy and ask his opinion and thought of things. And that's where
I'll go to mommy
instead of daddy. Yeah. Let me come to you, Martin, with my next question, because what happens to a society when fathers, are physically present but emotionally absent? Because in his case, you realize that, so he says the father is a very good dad. And many people say, my father is good, my father is good. But you cannot go to your dad and hug your dad. You cannot go to your dad with your personal need. Yesterday, I was with a colleague of mine, and we're having a conversation. And you know how, Leo, we're talking about the fact that we raise the boy child differently from the girl child.
Yeah.
And so even when the boy child impregnates a girl, let's say at 16, he impregnates a girl at 16 or 17 or 18, he's not confident enough to tell the father or the mother, Daddy, yes, I impregnated this girl. Although he did, he would tell a lie and deny responsibility. And then the girl is left to her fate. So you realize that her family will be at her neck and insult her and say they are disappointed in her and all that. Unfortunately, when the child grows, then the man then wants to go and claim ownership or responsibility for the child. The child that you denied when the child was in the mother's womb, a child you did not play a role in her upbringing or his upbringing. You are old now, you're going looking for that child. You understand? So fathers are of the view that, let me provide. Physically, they are not present. Emotionally, they are not playing a role. But they are providing for the home. What challenges does that present to us?
The challenge becomes you are seen more as a caretaker, a physical provider without any attachment, bonding. And like Louis said, so in our society, children.
So what he's trying to do is he called the mom, he called the dad. Now the mom is responding to the call. The father has not even bothered to.
But when he sees, he will call.
Don't worry. Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, so that's who you become. So the children end up spending more time with the mother, becoming closer to the mother. And that is when they are grown, and if a man and their wives give birth, they will prefer their mothers coming around. And that's what happens in the long run is at old age, you see the mother visiting all the children, goes to Amma, stays there for 3 months.
Your wife, your child is married.
Then you go to
stay in the house before open the door.
So I think that we ought to be very intentional beyond just providing. And I think that there is a consciousness came in about a decade or so ago, and fathers dropped go to your mother because initially when you want school fees, your father gives it to your mother. When you want anything, your father gives it to your mother. You go to your father, he tells you go to your mother. So after a while, the child doesn't have the need to go to the father again because he or she will be told to go to the mother.
Anyway, yeah.
Yes. So even at a point in time, you will think what you are receiving is even from your mother, and it adds to the bond.
So how critical is a father's presence in shaping a child's confidence, self-worth, and of course future success? The father has to be present. Yeah, the father has to work. How do you balance the time between work and making time for the child at home, in terms of the child's confidence, self-worth, and of course the future success and everything? How do you balance it?
So the father must work to provide. But this is the one philosophy I work with. Any extension of work that impedes my capacity or stalls my capacity to do the others, I will drop it.
Even if it's going to fetch you bigger money, more money? Because you're saying that in the society that we live in, Charlie,
very, very important, Dave.
But you think you're going to leave that?
So Dave, you see, you have to always weigh. Then you bring the money to help the children, and the children don't have any morals. They don't have any confidence in life. They don't have any. You are not being looked up to as a father. So you've taken your children to the best schools. You've bought them the best of gadgets. They stay in a very good home, but there is no bond in the home. Is that what you want? Or you prefer to have something tangible, but with a strong family bond and morals? So we always have to weigh vis-a-vis the others we are losing out. Or else you would keep on bringing home money. Then after 10, 15, 20 years, you look back and you've lost your son. You can't even connect with the boy or the girl. The boy or the girl does not see you as a father. And like Louis said, Louis was fortunate beyond the father to have another friend who I would say is God-fearing, and so helped tilt him in the long path, assuming it had been another voice beyond the good morals.
And I like the point where you bring in the person who was God-fearing, because we have lots of headmasters as friends. And I remember one headmaster telling me that there's a boy in his school. Now, the boy kept telling the dad that I don't want to go back to this school. And even if I have to go back to this school, I want to be a day student. Anytime the boy raises that issue, the father will say, no, you are going to go to the school. There's still going to be a border. The thing went on for a while. Then there was a time that they came on a long vacation. And when they were about to reopen school, that was when the boy was able to be bold enough to tell the daddy, do you know why I don't want to go to the school? Initially, daddy didn't even bother to listen. Apparently, there's a senior who was trying to sodomize this boy, introducing him to gayism. And that is why the guy was refusing to be a boarder or even be in that school. But the father was not listening. And so, Luis, how important is it for fathers not just to provide, but to listen and observe and be there for the child?
I think that is very important. So, fathers need to learn to verbalize the affections that they have. I think it's something critical we've lost on, and that's why it sort of created this gap between the connection between sons or children and fathers. Fathers need to verbalize and listen. It's so because, a father may profess he loves, but in this case, as you mentioned, he had not taken time to understand why the child is preventing.
It's not just about not creating. It's about the environment not being there for the child to, from the onset, have been straight with the dad. He says, I don't like the school. I don't want to go be a boarder. You should have said to daddy, I don't want to be a boarder anymore. I want to leave the school because of A, B, C, and D. So maybe I need to rephrase the question. Why do many men find it easier to provide financially than connect emotionally with their children? Because if you connect emotionally with your child, the child can come to you and say, Daddy, this is what is happening to me. Oh, Daddy, somebody wants to have anal sex with me. Oh, Daddy, I've impregnated somebody, unfortunately. I know I've disappointed you. I'm sorry, but help me. Oh, Daddy, I've done this. Daddy, I've done that. Oh, Daddy, I'm pregnant for so and so and so. How do we create that enabling environment?
First, David, we need to talk. If we don't talk, the connection is not built. We need to talk. I mean, it's like building a relationship with your spouse. If there is no communication, so I think communication is very important. And it's not just talking. That quality time that you spend to discuss their fears, their anxieties with them is very important.
I like the way you put it, but is it that easy? Because the typical, and this time let me borrow the words of Leo and Martin and you, Louise. The typical African or typical Ghanaian father, how dare you come and tell me that you have impregnated somebody? How dare you tell me that somebody has impregnated you? What the words that will come out of my mouth, you cannot fathom.
David, that's why we are trying to change the narrative.
So how do we change it? You might be disappointed, all right,
yes.
But how do you change it?
So
how do you go about it? Sorry.
So I think I had a case study that I was looking at. If, for instance, if your child brought such a situation to you, you do not reject the child. You take the child, you nurture, but the discipline must also be. So I think the challenge we've had is that we've known the fathers to just be disciplinarians, but not the kind of people we can go to with tabletop conversations, share their anxieties, their fear, the temptations, the desires that we have in us that is eating us up, the fears, the difficulties that we have that is eating us up. We are afraid to go because we think that environment has not been created, because we've always seen them as the disciplinarians. But if fathers can begin to have these tabletop
how do we begin it? That's the question. How do we do this, Martin?
Yes, so I think you look at the Lord's Prayer. In Jesus' teaching us, the Lord's Prayer said, when you pray, say our Father. And prayer is communication. So like Louis said, communication is very key. But you also ought to be very intentional in creating the environment. For example, a lot of fathers now are doing very well with either dropping their children off to school or picking them home, or both. And even within the 15-20 minutes drive, you can create very meaningful conversations with your children. How was school? What happened today? And kids can talk. They can tell you within a month, you can know everybody in their class and what they are doing. So you ought to be very intentional in creating the avenue. Sunday after church, you can make it a point to sit somewhere and just cook. It shouldn't be something beyond your budget, or even drive through, or maybe Sunday evening a walk with your kids. Exercise, just to strengthen yourself, but also to bond. And so these things are things you should be very intentional about. Driving to church, coming back home from church. What did you learn in church? Was there a new member in your class? Were you given a homework? Were you given an assignment? This leads to, it can be from, even here, Dave has informalized the conversation. So we've gone beyond what we're supposed to talk about, and we are now talking as friends. And now Louise has called his mom. So if Louise's mom had picked and said, oh, Dave wants to talk to you, should Dave meet Louise's mom someday, there will be a starting point. Oh, mommy, this was the gentleman in the studio, and that alone means David and Louise have become family. Yes.
So I'm happy you mentioned becoming friends with the kid.
Yes.
Every kid, when you are raising them, they are raised in stages.
Yes.
On the toddler stage, from the teen, then to the adult.
It's
about 4 stages.
Adolescent, teen, and then adult.
And in all the stages, in which stage should you be their friend? In which stage should you be the disciplinarian? In which stage should you be that open dad?
I think in every stage you should be all, but there will be dynamics. For example, when you are at let's say 7, 8, in the discipline there will be some spanking. But at Louise's age, it's talking, sitting down and reasoning. So at every stage, they should all be applied, but the dynamics will change. Yes, so at every stage, you should be a friend, you should be a disciplinarian, you should be a provider, and most importantly, a father is a priest. A father is the spiritual head and covering of the home. Often, we overlook that. You know, in Hebrews, he says that, and we know that the things which came from the things which are not, which means everything here is a manifestation of things beyond this realm we see. So it's also important the father takes his hold in the spiritual realm as the priest and the head of the home, to pray for the home, to speak over the homes, because as Christians we know that we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Principality.
Yes. So you might do all you have to do, but there are also forces, and this is Africa. In Africa, forces beyond us work.
They did. Would you agree with me that some people, mix this, and then instead of them to be the disciplinarian,
mix.
Okay. Or miss.
Okay.
Which one do you want to use?
Miss. MISS.
Because I had mixed before. Yeah.
So instead of them to be that top parent at a certain age, now the modern way of being a parent is, there was a bit money there. Now when the kid gets to adolescent, they will turn the crowd feeding. Do you think people are mistaking or we should be careful when we say you have to be friends with your kids. You have to be friends with your kids.
I think it's important for us we are believers, and it's important that we do not raise our children according to the way modern world, so to speak, wants it, but how is God's blueprint spelled out for us. There is a stage with your kid that it will be clear instructions, because that is where you are beginning to form the moral judgment. There is a point or a stage in their life where you can no longer do spanking and the rest, because at that stage you have formed the moral judgment, the base for them, and so they begin to build upon it. So I think some of us are missing it because we've not done the work at the foundation well, and when they grow it becomes difficult. Yesterday, for instance, when I had the conversation with my dad for about 40 minutes after he called, he was reminding me of something he had said about 10 years ago and had warned me about, that I shouldn't do this. Do I see the repercussions now? Because some people have done it and it's beginning to blow out for them. At this stage, he can't spank me. At that stage, he could have spanked me when he was giving the instructions. But
because they like quoting the Bible, I don't know which passage it's in, but it says, spare the rod and spoil the child. Now, the child could be at that, let's say, age 7 to, let's say, 14. But beyond 14, you can reason with the child, because then the child can reason and listen. But before that age, the rod is what is going to help you shape the child. But having said that, Martin,
Proverbs 13:24.
Google has helped you.
Yes.
Reverend you.
Google.
and Hebrews 12:6 also talks about a loving father is the one who chastises.
Yes. But so are we teaching our boys how to become good fathers, or only how to become successful men? What are we doing?
So you see, Dave, one of the reasons why at a certain stage fathers were seen as disciplinarians was because that is what the boys saw their fathers do.
Yeah.
And kids learn more by observation, even than what you intentionally teach them. So if we want to raise a generation of fathers who are beyond physical providers, then we ought to live it. We ought to live it. Now, adding to what Louis said on with Leo's question, in school, often the most disciplinarian of the teachers was the best of teachers for the children. He was the one almost everybody gravitated to, even though you knew that when you mess up, he will beat you. So it's a challenge now that some parents, in their bid to protect children from the challenges they went through, they overbear the children. They overdo it. But this is what I tell myself. Not the bad ones, but there are some situations in your life you went through which have shaped you, made you firm and still like for life. Why do you pander your children to an extent that they can't stand on their feet? So I think that there ought to be a balance, a certain protection, but also a certain leverage for the children to also build life and become tough. Because life, Dave,
life is war.
Yes. When we were
Life is
kids,
war.
your parents will tell you, you won't understand until you start providing. Then you will see everything your parents said coming to bear in your life.
So, but my question, I'll repeat the question shortly, but I just want to add to what you just said, because we're all having a conversation here. And I remember I was having a show, then on the diary, and something had happened to the, I think at that time the girl was either 17 or 18 or thereabout. And then when I was speaking to the girl, I raised the mother on the phone line and saying, we're talking. She told her mom straight, Mommy, you lost me when I was 8 years old.
Wow.
You lost me when I was age 8. Because around that age of 8, but if you lose that stage, like Leo said, then they get to a certain stage where she can talk back to you, he can talk back to you because he doesn't respect you or she doesn't respect you. So caning or spanking is part of upbringing and raising a child. And often sometimes they leave it for the fathers. It's not just for the fathers to do that, but it's for all of us. But because we're talking about father, and of course Father's Day coming up on Sunday, I asked that question. Are we raising our children, male child for example, the boy child, to become good fathers as they grow? Or we're just instilling in them the fact that shall I go hustle, make money and come home? What are we doing to our boy child?
I think we have the benefit of hindsight. What we we have seen in society, or what we think might not have been the best situations that we saw in the lives of other people, in our own situations and the rest, and it should help us reform and give the best. So for fathers of this age, I think what is important for us is the balance that we must bring to nurturing our boys in all these things. You must model for them that desire to achieve, but also model for them that desire to build a character that stands the test of time. This book that I'm reading, for instance, has a chapter by Charles Stanley, has a chapter on Steel and Velvet. And what Steel and Velvet talks about is that tough love, that disciplines, that corrects. And the Velvet part talks about that soft part that builds the environment, the conversation, so that you become the person that they can come to. I think if we are building a generation where people will become honest, can stand the test of time, will be responsible citizens, will have integrity, yet be achieving in their world of work, then we need to marry the soft part and the steel part so that they become responsible and bold.
Having said that, and I like the way the two of you began and say you're Christian, so you're raising your child the Christian way. If you listen to us and you're Muslim, you can also raise your child the Islamic way. It's all about what the good book says. So what role should a father play in the moral, spiritual, and of course the character development of his child? Spiritual, moral. What role should the father be playing?
The father should become the standard the child sees, because you must become the epitome of God you talk about. You must become the spiritual head of the home. You must become the moral standard of the home. You must become the Bible the child reads until he or she is able to read. And when he reads anything in the Bible, the child must be able to connect it with your life. And so the father is the priest. He is the spiritual head. You must make time, Dave, to pray for your family. You must make time to pray with your family. You must make time to study the Bible with your family. You must make time to read the Bible to your children. But most importantly, you must make time, or you must be intentional about living the Bible. If I say living the Bible, as we put it, practicalizing the Bible in your life. So you can't be insulting your wife and then telling your children B. You can't be picking calls on phone line and then you tell your children not to lie.
Louis says they observe our observation.
Yes.
And it's true.
Yeah. So you can't pick a call and say, oh, I'm in the studio. I say, oh, I'm in Accra. The child heard you say you are in Accra. Meanwhile, you are in Kumasi. Then the child lies and you are beating the child for lying. Accra no means it's not right. So what and like I said before, I think that in my estimation, the premier responsibility of the father is the spiritual responsibility. It does not mean I am neglecting the physical provision. No, it's important. But if I am to list, the spiritual responsibility of the father comes first, because it is therein flows all the others.
So the Bible says that the family that prays together stays together.
It's a common
It's a
saying.
maxim that we can.
So I believe that one of the spiritual aspect of things is when we do some of these things together.
Yes.
So wake up together as a family.
Yes.
And you pray together.
Yes.
But Louis, as we're wrapping up our conversation, can a man who never had a good father figure still become the father God designed him to be?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Because one of the good things that we should have in this generation is mentors. And they are very good aspect of raising the next generation of boys. If you did not have a good father, first of all, you have a good father in God. Second, you have other fathers in your society and your community that should be able to pour into you. The fact that you did not get it does not mean
you can't give it.
You can't give it.
But you can't give what you don't know, or you can't give what you don't have.
You can give it because you will be socialized, you will be mentored. That's why I.
And if you're lucky, like Martin said, the man who you could have that tabletop conversation with, he was God-fearing or a Christian,
Exactly.
and he did right by you. By somebody who doesn't have that father figure at home is not fortunate enough to have some father figure outside the home. That child might mess up. I will not be able to, as an adult, be able to get that father figure God intended him to have.
And so, David, from the work that some of us are doing and your friend Elde Moss is doing, that's why we are raising a lot of men and coaches who should be at the forefront of society, coaching and mentoring our boys. It's very important, because if you look at various studies that have gone on, you realize that children that do not have that male voice and that male figure and mentoring in their lives are more likely to fall into a lot of delinquents than a lot of the ones that had a proper mentoring. And so we are encouraging, that's why we're having this celebration, that more fathers should own up, more men should own up in the society to be coaches and mentors, so that the absence that exists, they can fill the gap.
We did it for mothers, do Mother's Day. Yesterday, unfortunately, we didn't have enough time because we had a lot of interviews coming up. Today, you can call us right now. We have time to pick a few calls on 03-220-83596, 03-220-83597, and 03-220-83598. What kind of a father did you have? What kind of a father are you right now? You can join our conversation. Leo Stanley, please handle the phone lines.
And
hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Kofi.
Yeah, good morning. How are you, Leo?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Let me say good morning to Nana Kwaku. For yesterday, he gave me some money, and I want to say thank you to him and happy Father's Day to him. Look, Leo, people of our generation, we don't fancy this Father's Day. We don't fancy it. It's only this 21st century generation that fancy Father's Day. All that you have said this morning, well, it's well and good, but I don't see it as anything. Look, as a father, you know that your spirit, like we say in Chi, Usunsun, every father's spirit is in the child. So the moment the child is in the womb of a mother, your spirit is in the child. So the moment the child comes out of the womb, the child is looking for the father. But there are some fathers who don't want to go near their children. Even when their children are crying, they will call their wives, come and take the baby, come and do this, come and do that. But every child wants to be with his father. So if you don't draw your children near to you, you can't be a good father. Look, Almighty God who created us, He is our Father, and He does everything for His children. And so we have, only God is our mentor. If you are a father, you don't have any mentor than God. So if you want to be a good father, then you look up to God, what God does for His children, and that will make you be a good. It doesn't matter whether you are a pastor, you are imam, you are whatever you are. God is your mentor. So if you want to mentor God, you will be a good father.
All right, thank you. That was Kofi Bajuni there. Thanks very much for joining our conversation. You can also join us. You know the numbers 03-220-83596, 03-220-83597, and 03-220-83598. We're talking about Father's Day coming up on Sunday. We're talking about how to become a very good father. Maybe you want to wish your father happy Father's Day in advance. Maybe you want to say something to your dad. Maybe you want to tell us the role your father played in your life and how good he's helped you and all that. Join our conversation. Leo Stanley.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hey, your name and where you calling from, please? What does Shumasi was say? What do you have to tell your dad today?
Oh, yeah, I haven't called my dad. My dad is in heaven, so.
Are you going to call him?
Yo, I'll reach out to him on Father's Day. Don't worry, he's in heaven right now.
Oh, okay, I see. All right, let's hear you.
Okay. And then Father would know everything. Na minia kuma ba ko ka say ono to ono the priority by the spiritual aspect of fatherhood is good, but minia the instruction na ja obetimi dia ma wo ba if you no power sorry e bia nto ne yam waka be catch bram yam empire obedi wachi.
Oh, but he listen, let me say
say no Dave, your can bet you I don't know, but you leave home somewhere around 5 a.m.
Before 4 a.m.
Thank you, bro. It's you know, a deal, why my basic uncle Trabusian, a asem. Who the basic uncle Trabusian, and anywhere a asem. It's an immediate, the enemy to a janum for the say. Yeah, you and Pesca at the best of Trabusian, but the enemy a big canoe. 15 minutes if you now do Marco school. More corona moving come on, and then for instance, me almost more something they call PTI, parent teacher interaction. Then I will do a more call. You didn't come, and they call ye back with challenges and you remember back, no more bed discussion. So I say,
but I know, and one hour, and one, and you, thank you very much.
Any devotional or more they can have devotion
even
in the car. So we are not talking about spiritual neglecting the others. No, we say there should be a balance.
Okay.
So not
internet time, yeah.
Yes,
but,
no,
you know.
yes.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where you calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm Danny. I'm calling from Tech.
Danny from Tech.
Yeah.
What do you have for us this morning?
Yeah, I think every man represents a book that the children read. And for me, my personal experience growing up, and I've realized that where you find yourself, your father is maybe punishing you for this offense or that offense. You only understand your parent when you grow up. In the short run, you may get angry, but when you grow up, that is where you are able to pass the right judgment, whether they were doing the right thing or the wrong thing. And it is so helpful that for us as parents now, we don't underestimate that act of punishing our children when they go wrong. Although we must be careful that sometimes we explain our point, the reason we did this or that, for them to understand. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when I sit down carefully, I can see my father in me. For everything I have done in business, many life things I've done in life, mostly when I encounter where my father, the things that my father did with me, those experiences, when they play out, you are like, gosh, had I not experienced this, maybe here I would have given up. Mostly my strength comes, especially in business, when I figure out where my father fixed a particular business problem when I was with him. And so we have a lot to share with our children. We can't play with our own personal lifestyles of morality.
And Danny, I agree with you, and thanks very much for sharing and for joining our show. I think we can pick just one more call. All right, so Leo.
Hello?
Hello, Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Kwame.
And now, Kwame, let's hear you.
No, this is Kwame. No, Kwame.
Oh, okay, Kwame. But have you said I love you to your dad before?
Okay, yeah, I'll get there.
All right, now, Kwame.
Let any of us try to say I love you to our dad in our local language. Papa can say, "Eja, me do." What is going on?
One we look after the
You see, the Father's Day celebration, the I love you thing, they are not our culture. There's a way we express our love. Just merely saying I love you, it is not a man thing. If you tell your fellow man you love you, it's in our culture, it's some way, somehow.
Kwame, indulge me. Forgive me for cutting into your submission. But Kwame, I want you to be very honest and sincere with me on the question I'm going to ask you. Just be honest and sincere. So, you are the father, you are paying the school fees, you are paying the rent, or you have built the house, you are clothing them, you are feeding them, you're doing all, even when they are sick, you are there for them. If on Sunday, any of your children comes here and say, Daddy, thank you, I love you, deep inside you, Kwame, how would you feel? Be honest, how would you feel inside when the child tells you that?
Oh, yes, I'll feel good.
Exactly that's what we're talking about.
Even God.
My little girl has a way of expressing her love for me. As soon as I come home from work, how was your day? Should I bring your food? Those kind of things. I mean, the mere say of I love you, that thing is some way. And again,
but you say you feel good. You say you feel good, and that's what we're talking about. Listen, I did you understand? So, in as much as you feel good, it means you love to hear it. Let's encourage it.
Well, I appreciate that, David. David, another thing, we keep saying Christian, God-fearing. David, Ghana is a Christian country. About 70% of the population are Christians. Let's ask ourselves, are we really proud of this country? You see, let us focus on teaching our kids to be morally upright and hardworking.
Morally upright and hardworking is something that we also need to focus attention on. Thank you very much, Kwame, for joining our conversation. So we can't pick any more calls for want of time.
Yeah.
But what would you say are the biggest silent mistakes many fathers make that end up costing them their relationship with their children? What are some of the things, silent or loud or whatever, that fathers do that you'd say mask that relationship they have with their children? Let me start off with you, Martin.
So, I mean, from the calls Leo has picked, I figured people prefer to say culture. I wrote something down. We stick to the tenets of culture when it pleases us. The technology, everything we are using here, it's not part of our culture. But we've adapted everything, TV, car, that's not our culture. But we've incorporated them. So our hold on to culture is to allow us to do what we want to do. But when we have to change to suit us, we do. So this whole narrative that saying I love you or doing this and that for our children to make us better men is not our culture. I think we can adapt.
Change.
We can adapt.
Yeah, we can change and adapt.
Some parents will even spank you and say, you know, I'm beating you because I love you.
Yeah. And like you said, those days when parents will beat you, they don't explain.
Yeah.
But now parents will sit you down. The cane will be there. You can see the cane.
They would ask you, do you explain? So read the message somebody sent on the show. Yeah. What does the person say on the message?
He said David. He said he wants to put you on the spot. Have you used your hands on senior and junior now before? That's the senior now is now penny and the junior now is the little one. And he goes on to say, I do it to my first boy and feel regrets afterwards. I try not to, but he's so stubborn. I don't want the second boy to learn from him.
So yes, I have. For the two of them, yes, I have. But I do it with love. The last time I beat the last one was barely 2 months ago.
Okay.
You know, the mother has a shop at the SG Mall, and apparently they have this gaming center there. So there are a lot of activities that kids can play, toys,
skates, and all of that.
So oftentimes the mother believes or thinks that the child is playing there. Apparently the child crosses the street, SG Mall, crosses the street to visit a friend, and at the time she was 8, and we didn't know. So one time the mother was looking for her and couldn't find her anywhere at the mall. And then she called me. I had to drive there. When I got there, we couldn't find her.
Wow.
So we were all worried. Then after a few minutes, she showed up. Where have you been? She was honest and said, listen, I went to visit a friend. Where? Across the street, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but you could have been knocked down by a vehicle. Yeah. Somebody could have kidnapped you. Anything could have happened to you. So I'm going to spank you. So I spanked her. In the presence of a lot of people. And one thing she doesn't like is to embarrass her in the presence of people. If it's like one-on-one in the corner somewhere, she will still feel bad. But when there are people, then she feels it the more. From that time, she came back to me after a few hours, and at 8, she told me, listen, I know I've disappointed you, I'm sorry, I won't do that again. It gives him peace of mind. Rather than to not spank her, and then something happens later. So what I do, even with Nasinia, I'll cane you or beat you, but I'll tell you why I did it. Right. And I'll tell you, it's not because I don't love you. It's because I love you, that's why I'm doing it.
Love tap.
Yeah. No, but tap me bo.
So our correction should be in love and not veer into abuse.
And that is why even in schools, when we talk about corporal punishment being taken away from teachers, I'm like, don't take it away.
Yes.
Let the teachers cane their children, but do it with nyansa. Do it with love. You understand?
The excess is what we are against.
That it tends to become an assault and abuse. But I was asking, what are some of the things that we do silently or loudly that mask the relationship between us and our children? What are some of the things? Give me two, Louis. Or nothing jumps at you?
If we don't talk, it's very important to me. If we don't talk, and then when our correction goes into an
Excesses.
abuse.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your relationship with your wife.
Mm.
Your relationship with your wife sends a lot of signal. How you talk to her, how you treat her. If you disrespect your wife. If you begin to disrespect your wife, your children draw close to her to give her comfort.
Oh, because their children always are around their mother. We know that. Louise was saying that she was in the womb for 9 months and then breastfed. Hold on. Gentlemen, hold on. Allow me. So you breastfed them and all that. So if your wife also doesn't know how to talk to you, if your wife doesn't treat you, because the Bible says what? Husbands love.
Yes, and wives submit.
Submit.
To the
father. So if you don't, yeah, but if you don't submit, how do you expect me to talk to you?
So the woman is supposed to submit.
Submit, yes.
And the man is supposed to love.
Yes.
So, but the question is, what do fathers do? So that's the point from which I am.
You come in, okay.
Yes.
No, but it takes two to tango.
Oh, it does. I am not by this standing in for the women. No, I'm only saying what we can do to make our homes better. You get it. So we should love our wives. It also helps.
Sure.
And one of the things I love David for is he uses the road in front of my business, and almost every day, David picks us from the first girl to the second one. Picks them up almost every school day, almost. And I mean, off air, he was telling me how by the time he
I said already all the time
to the house, they have a lot of
so the first thing I do is when I pick her, how was your day? She'll say, oh, when do you have homework? She say, how many homeworks? Then she says it. Then I'm like, okay, but Charlie, my day today was like this, so then I did this, this didn't go well, this did it. I tell her things that I think for her age she can consume. But she doesn't know that the extra stuff.
Yes.
Then I'm like, so how did your day go? Then she starts talking. Then I start probing further. So what did he do? And what did she say? What did your teacher do? Did you tell the teacher? So I probe further. So what I've done is that I have created an environment where they can easily talk to me about anything and everything.
Yeah.
And it started at an early stage in their life.
Yeah.
So they grow with it.
Yeah.
You understand? If you don't start it early, I'm not saying it's not possible, but you might have some kind of challenges getting them to speak to you. But right now, I think she can't. I'm believing that they can tell me anything and everything. That's what
and they will, because you see, the Bible says, teach the child
the way
as long as you've put the child on that path, most likely they will trod on that path.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for passing through. And happy Father's Day to you.
And
both
happy Father's
in
Day
advance.
and
to
my dad.
Happy
Reverend Emmanuel Kwame Anani. He's former Minister of Assemblies of God at Obuasi CFC. And my father-in-law, Reverend Joe, who is at Nkoko.
Reverend from Kwa.
Yeah, my
papa connection man or
baby. My papa is over me. And
I'm going to say, don't make them come beside Charmo Wayana.
They didn't really know each other.
Oh, okay.
It's us who brought them.
Well, I know your wife as well. That's why.
Yes, Sichua is a very beautiful girl.
And then happy Father's Day to my dad too, Felix Ebamwa.
The father who didn't pick your call. At least if for nothing, I thought your mother has returned the
And
call.
when he picks you, he'll be on for.
So the next one,
and we talk.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us
Let's
again.
aspire to be good fathers or better fathers. Yes, our fathers did great. I lost my dad 2 years ago. He was amazing. He was also Felix anyway, and he was an amazing dad. Wherever he is, may his soul rest in peace. May God continue to watch over him and all that. But we here, I'm happy that things are changing now. People are going to schools to be part of the PTIs, and the PTAs are going for the weighings and are taking their kids to the hospital, taking their kids to the playing grounds and all that. I'm happy that all that is happening. So it's my prayer that we'll do better. If for whatever reason you are listening to me and you think that you're not doing well with your children, you can do better. It's never too late. You can do better. So to all the fathers out there, God bless you. But before we leave, I'm told that there's a medical outreach program 2026 coming up. Luis, what's the program about?
So, Living Waters, together with the Global Commission, Joshua Generation, and a team of doctors coming from the US to do some medical screening. And it's happening on Tuesday, 23rd June, at the forecourt of LWC. So we invite all fathers, all everybody to be there.
Living Waters is just behind Love FM. I just sent the SG Mall.
You know something? The person sends a message. Hey, David, with this your big hands and fingers, you are beating Nassini and I Junior.
He doesn't fight crime.